The rain hammered against my windshield like a relentless drumbeat, turning the world outside into a watery blur. I sat there in my parked car, the engine off, the heater blasting futile bursts of warmth that did nothing to chase away the chill seeping into my bones. It was one of those Seattle evenings where the sky seemed to weep endlessly, the kind that made you question why anyone chose to live in this perpetual gray. My phone buzzed in my lap, pulling me from the numb scroll through Instagram, mindless likes on friends' holiday posts, all twinkling lights and fake cheer. The message was from an unknown number. Asterisk, he's lying to you. Check his work email. Password, Seahawks fan 92, asterisk. My heart stuttered. Who the hell was this? Spam? A prank? But something twisted in my gut, that sharp, instinctive pull I'd learned to trust over the years, the same one that had guided me through late-night study sessions in college, or that gut-wrenching decision to move cross-country for a job. I glanced up at our apartment building, the lights in our window glowing warmly, mocking me with their false promise of home. Jason was up there, probably lounging on the couch with a beer, waiting for me to come home from my late meeting. Or was he? With fingers that suddenly felt like lead, I opened the email app on my phone, typed in his work address, and entered the password. It worked. Of course it did. The inbox loaded slowly, each email a dagger slicing through the fragile veil of my reality. There she was, Sarah, his coworker. Messages stretching back months, like a secret diary I'd never been invited to read. Flirty at first. Loved your presentation today, winky face. Innocent enough if you ignored the winky face that screamed subtext. Then bolder, more intimate. Can't stop thinking about last night's meeting. Attachments popped up like landmines. Photos. Her in a hotel room, smiling coyly over her shoulder, the kind of pose that said everything without words. Him replying with hearts and promises that made my stomach churn. Our secret getaway next weekend, can't wait. The date? Our anniversary. The one we'd planned to spend hiking in the Olympics, just us, with packed lunches from Whole Foods and that old backpack we'd shared on our first trip together. I gasped, the sound raw and ragged in the confined space of my Subaru Outback, the car we'd bought together last year after debating for weeks over safety ratings and gas mileage. Tears burned hot trails down my cheeks, mixing with the fog condensing on the glass from my ragged breaths. How had I missed this? Me, Emily Thompson, 32 years old, the woman who'd built a life from scratch in this rainy city. Marketing was by day, hopeful romantic by night. The girl who juggled spin classes at SoulCycle and client pitches with equal fervor. I'd thought we were solid. 5 years solid, the kind of relationship that made friends envious at brunch, where we'd sip bottomless mimosas and share stories of couple goals. But here it was, proof in glowing pixels on my iPhone screen. He chose her. Over me. Over us. I don't remember the drive home, just the blur of streetlights streaking like comets through the rain, the wipers swishing furiously in a futile battle against the downpour. Seattle traffic was a nightmare as always, cars honking on I-5, but I navigated on autopilot, my mind replaying every moment like a bad movie reel. The elevator ride up to our floor felt eternal, the soft ding at each level mocking my rising panic. My reflection in the mirrored walls was a ghost, mascara-streaked eyes, hair frizzed from the humidity, lips pressed into a thin line of disbelief. When I burst through the door of our Capitol Hill apartment, the scent of leftover pizza from last night's delivery hit me first, followed by the sight of Jason on the couch, remote in hand. Netflix paused mid-episode on that true crime doc we'd been binging together, The Staircase, ironic now, given how my life felt like it was tumbling down one. Hey, babe, you're soaked. Bad traffic. His voice was casual, that familiar Texas drawl wrapping around the words like honey, the same drawl that had charmed me at our first meeting. He looked up, hazel eyes crinkling in that boyish way, but I saw the flicker, guilt? Surprise? It was there and gone in a blink. I threw my phone at him. It bounced off the cushion beside him, screen up, the incriminating emails glaring like neon signs in a dive bar. Explain this. His face drained of color, that easy smile vanishing faster than a Seattle sunny day. He picked up the phone, scrolling, his Adam's apple bobbing as he swallowed hard. What is this? How did you? Does it matter how? I snapped, my voice echoing off the exposed brick walls we'd painted together during lockdown, back when we were all about home improvement projects and virtual date nights. It's you and Sarah. Months of it. Emails, photos, plans. You lied to me, Jason. Straight to my face. He stood slowly, hands raised like I was a wild animal he needed to calm, his flannel shirt, the one I'd bought him for his birthday, rumpled from lounging. Okay. Listen, it's not what you think. It was stress. Work stuff got intense, and one thing led to another. It didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything? I laughed, but it came out bitter and hollow, like the echo in an empty coffee mug. I paced the living room, my wet shoes squelching on the hardwood floors we'd refinished last summer, dodging the coffee table cluttered with his gaming controllers and my half-read copy of Atomic Habits. You took her to Portland. On our anniversary weekend. You told me it was a solo trip to clear your head, remember? You said you needed space to think about us, about proposing maybe. And all along, you were with her. He ran a hand through his tousled brown hair, the gesture I'd once found endearing, now just infuriating. He paced too, mirroring me, the room feeling smaller with every step. Our apartment, our sanctuary, with its killer view of the Puget Sound where we'd sip morning coffee watching ferries glide by, the thrift store rug we'd argued over at Goodwill because I wanted Persian patterns and he wanted neutral tones. The framed photo on the mantel from our trip to Pike Place Market, arms around each other, fish flying in the background like some rom-com scene. It all mocked me now. I screwed up. Big time, he admitted, his voice cracking, that drawl thickening with emotion, or was it feigned? But I love you, Emily. She's nothing. A mistake. A stupid, reckless mistake born out of late nights and too much pressure from the app launch. A mistake that lasted 6 months? I thrust a finger at the phone, my nails freshly manicured from my girl's day last weekend, digging into my palm. Here's one. Can't wait to leave her. You wrote that. About me. To her. He stopped pacing, slumping against the kitchen island, the granite we'd chosen together cool under his palms. His eyes pleaded, wide and desperate. I didn't mean it. I was caught up in the moment, the excitement. Please, let's talk this through. We can go to therapy, like that couple we know from trivia night. Remember? They fix things after worse. But I couldn't breathe. The room spun, the scent of his cologne mixing with the faint garlic from last night's Thai takeout from our favorite spot on Broadway, the Christmas tree we'd decorated early because he loved the twinkling lights against the rainy windows. Get out, I whispered, my voice barely audible over the pounding in my ears. Then louder, a roar from deep within. Get the hell out. He hesitated, eyes searching mine for a lifeline, but I turned away, staring out the window at the city lights blurring through fresh tears. He packed a bag slowly, the zippers rasped like nails on a chalkboard, stuffing in shirts and jeans while I sat on the edge of the bed, knees drawn to my chest, rocking like a child in a storm. The door clicked shut behind him, soft and final, and the silence crashed in like a wave. I curled up on the bed, sobbing into the pillows that still carried his scent, sandalwood and soap, my body racked with heaving gasps that left me exhausted and empty. How had it come to this? I lay there, staring at the ceiling fan whirring lazily, my mind flashing back to our beginning, as if rewinding the tape could erase the present. I met Jason at a company happy hour in Belltown, one of those dimly lit bars with craft IPAs on tap and exposed brick walls adorned with local art. I was 27 then, fresh from the Midwest, having packed up my life in Chicago after a recruiter headhunted me for this tech startup. Seattle was a culture shock. The endless drizzle instead of snowy winters, the hipster vibe with flannel shirts and artisanal everything, the way people talked about hiking trails like they were sacred paths. I was nursing a gin and tonic, feeling out of place among the tech bros in hoodies emblazoned with company logos, when he slid onto the stool next to me. "You're too pretty to be crunching numbers alone," he teased, his smile lighting up the room, that slight southern drawl cutting through the din of laughter and clinking glasses. He was 30, from Austin originally, with stories of rodeos and real Texas barbecue that made my mouth water. We talked all night about our shared love for hiking Mount Rainier on clear days, our mutual hatred of those trendy kale smoothies despite the West Coast obsession with health fads, how we both dreamed of escaping the city grind for a cabin in the woods someday, maybe in the San Juans where we could kayak and forget about deadlines. Our first date sealed it, a Mariners game at T-Mobile Park, the stadium alive with the crack of bats and the roar of the crowd. We scarfed hot dogs dripping with mustard, waved foam fingers like kids, and when the team hit a home run, he pulled me close amid the cheers, kissing me under the exploding fireworks. "This is it, Em," he whispered, his breath warm against my ear. "You and me against the world." I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was steady, ambitious, but kind, the guy who remembered my coffee order, skinny vanilla latte from Starbucks, and surprised me with tickets to concerts at the Showbox. We built a life brick by brick. Moved in together after a year into this sleek one-bedroom in Capitol Hill, with its high ceilings and bay windows that let in what little sun Seattle offered. Mornings were ritualistic, him brewing coffee in our French press while I scrolled news on my phone, debating headlines over toast with avocado, because Seattle. Weekends meant farmers' markets at University District, picking out organic apples and artisanal cheeses, debating if we'd ever save enough for a house in the suburbs like Bellevue or Kirkland, where yards were big enough for barbecues and maybe kids someday. Holidays wove us tighter. Thanksgiving with my family back in Illinois, where Dad grilled Jason on NFL picks over turkey and stuffing, and Mom slipped me winks in the kitchen while we baked apple pies from scratch. "He's a good one, honey," she'd say, her hands floured and warm. His family visits were adventures too, flying to Texas for barbecues in sweltering heat, his mom hugging me like her own daughter, teaching me to make brisket that fell off the bone. Work was our shared battleground. Both in tech, me climbing the ladder in marketing, crafting campaigns for eco-friendly apps that promised to save the planet one download at a time, him in engineering, coding late into the night for software launches that kept the company afloat. We'd commiserate over delivery pizzas from Pagliacci, him typing away on his laptop while I brainstormed taglines on sticky notes plastered to the fridge. "Team Thompson," he'd say with a grin, high-fiving me after a win, like when I landed that big client for sustainable fashion or he debugged a glitch just before deadline. But then Sarah entered the picture. She joined his team about 6 months ago, a sharp 29-year-old with a pixie cut and an infectious laugh that carried across the open-plan office. I met her at the company Christmas party last year, held at the Chihuly Garden and Glass Museum, those twisting glass sculptures glowing like frozen flames under holiday lights. She was in a sparkling red dress, chatting animatedly about AI ethics over eggnog. Jason introduced us. This is Sarah, our new UI designer. She's a genius with interfaces. Sarah, meet my better half, the marketing maven." We exchanged pleasantries. She complimented my earrings, I her shoes. She seemed nice enough, ambitious like me, the kind of woman who'd thrive in Seattle's tech scene. But now, looking back, there was a spark in his eye when he mentioned her name, a linger in his touch on my back that I mistook for affection, but was perhaps distraction. The signs had been there, subtle at first, like the first drops of rain before a storm. His phone buzzing at odd hours during dinner, Our sacred time at spots like Oddfellows Cafe, where we'd share plates of brunch favorites like avocado toast and eggs Benedict. Just work, he'd mutter, angling the screen away, typing quick replies. Coming home later than usual, smelling faintly of a perfume that wasn't my signature Joe Malone scent, something floral and cheap. Team building happy hour, he'd explain, kissing my forehead. I'd push the doubts down, burying them under layers of trust. After all, that's what couples do in modern relationships, right? We talked about everything, therapy if needed, open communication like those podcasts I listen to on my commute. Where should we begin? With Esther Pearl. But betrayal doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It sneaks in like the fog rolling off the sound, obscuring everything until you're lost. I didn't sleep that night after he left. Instead, I poured a glass of wine, a cheap Cabernet from Trader Joe's, the kind we'd stock up on during our weekly grocery runs, and sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through their messages like a masochist picking at a scab. "Can't get enough of you," he wrote to her, the same words he'd texted me just last week after a date night at Canlis, that fancy restaurant overlooking Lake Union where we'd toasted to our future. "You're my escape," another one said. Escape from what? From me? From the life we'd built? My phone buzzed incessantly, Jason's texts pouring in. Asterisk, please, M. Let me explain. I love you. This is a mistake I can fix. Asterisk, I blocked him, then unblocked, my finger hovering over the delete button, tears splashing onto the screen. Morning came gray and unforgiving, the kind of December dawn where the sun barely bothers to rise. I called in sick to work, my voice hoarse from crying as I emailed my boss, under the weather, working remote. Curled on the couch with a mug of coffee that tasted like ash, I stared at the blank TV screen, my reflection a hollow shell. My best friend Lisa texted first, asterisk, brunch this weekend? Mimosa emergency, asterisk, I couldn't hold it in. Over FaceTime, her face pixelated, but her expression furious as I spilled everything, the words tumbling out like a dam breaking. That absolute bastard, she said, her New York accent sharp. Want me to key his car? Or better, hack his LinkedIn and post something embarrassing? No, I said, laughing through fresh tears, the sound surprising me. But maybe. God, Lise, how did I not see it? Because you're trusting, M. That's not a flaw, it's his. She promised to come over later with ice cream, Ben and Jerry's fish food, our go-to breakup remedy from college days. Family was next. I called Mom, her voice warm like the fresh-baked cookies she'd send in care packages. Hey, sweetie, everything okay? You sound off. I broke down, the story pouring out between sobs. Oh, honey, she sighed, her Midwestern practicality kicking in. Come home if you need to. We'll get through this. Remember your Aunt Linda? She left Uncle Bob after his affair and never looked back. Best decision she made. Dad got on the extension. Want me to fly out there? Have a little talk with this Jason fella. His voice boomed, protective like always, the mechanic who fixed everything with his hands, but wanted to fix my heart with fists if needed. No, Dad. I need to handle this myself. But their love wrapped around me like a wool blanket, reminding me of roots that ran deep. The days blurred into a haze of numbness and fury. I avoided the office, opting for remote work, Zoom calls with my team, my camera off as I pitched campaigns for green energy brands, my voice steady while my world crumbled. Gossip trickled in through Slack, heard Jason and Sarah are a thing now, saw them at lunch. It stung like salt in an open wound, each message a reminder of the betrayal. One night, while cleaning out his leftover junk from the closet, old t-shirts from 5 Burmese chots we'd run together, a box of mementos, I found a burner phone tucked in his sock drawer. My hands trembled as I powered it on. More texts, more plans. Asterisk, gotta end it with Emily soon. She's clueless. Asterisk, clueless. Me? The woman who'd supported him through his layoff 2 years ago, cooking his favorite chili on NFL Sundays, planning our dream trip to Hawaii that we never took because work was too busy. The realization hit then, slow at first, like the first light of dawn piercing the clouds, then crashing like a wave on Alki Beach during high tide. This wasn't my fault. I'd given everything, my love, my trust, my best self in a relationship that was supposed to be equal. He chose to betray it, to fill his voids with her instead of talking to me. Therapy started the next week. Dr. Reyes in her cozy Fremont office, surrounded by succulents and dream catchers, with a kettle always ready for herbal tea. Betrayal trauma is real, Emily, she said softly, her eyes kind behind glasses. It's not just the affair, it's the shattering of your reality. But you can rebuild stronger with boundaries and self-compassion. I journaled furiously after sessions, diary entries spilling out like confessions in a leather-bound notebook I'd bought at Elliott Bay Book Company. December 1st, 2025. Why me? Was I too independent, too focused on my career? Did I not notice because I was happy? No. He was weak, seeking validation elsewhere. I deserve honesty, not this. Reading books helped too. The body keeps the score on trauma. Why does he do that? On manipulative behaviors, leave a cheater, gain a life for that raw, no-holds-barred advice. I dove into Reddit threads on r/surviving infidelity, scrolling late at night under the covers, finding solidarity in strangers' stories from across the USA, women in New York dealing with Wall Street cheaters, moms in Texas navigating custody battles, single gals in LA reinventing themselves post-heartbreak. Social life became a minefield. A holiday party at a friend's loft in Pioneer Square, string lights twinkling, eggnog spiked with bourbon, laughter echoing off exposed brick. I went, dressed in my favorite red sweater from Anthropology, makeup flawless to hide the puffiness, faking confidence with every smile. But whispers followed like shadows, heard about Jason. Poor Emily. I sipped my drink, chatting about work and travel plans, but inside, my thoughts raced. Am I the fool everyone pities? The cautionary tale at water coolers, Christmas alone was brutal. No tree this year. The ornaments we'd collected, souvenirs from trips to New Orleans for Mardi Gras, Aspen for skiing, stayed boxed in the closet. Instead, I flew home to Chicago, the plane packed with holiday travelers, my seamate a chatty grandma sharing cookies. Snow blanketed the suburbs like a fresh start, lights twinkling on every ranch-style house, carols playing from radios. Family enveloped me immediately, mom hugging me at the airport, dad loading my bag into his truck, siblings waiting with hot cocoa and teasing grins. Aunt Em, why's your face sad? Little Mia, my niece, asked, her pigtails bouncing as she climbed into my lap. Just missing someone, kiddo. But I'm okay now that I'm here. We baked cookies in Mom's kitchen, flour dusting the counters, laughing over old stories, my high school prom disaster, Dad's infamous fishing trip fails. Christmas morning was stockings and presents under the tree, the scent of pine and cinnamon rolls filling the air. No questions about Jason, just love, pure and unwavering. Back in Seattle for New Year's, the city buzzed with resolutions and fireworks plans. Friends dragged me to a bar in Ballard, craft cocktails flowing, live indie music thumping from speakers. I danced for the first time in weeks, sweat beading on my forehead, a cute guy buying me a drink and flirting harmlessly. It felt freeing, like the first breath after holding it underwater. Realization deepened in those moments. Life didn't end with Jason. It was just beginning without him, a blank page in my story. The comeback wasn't a dramatic switch flip. It was gradual, like spring thawing the frozen trails and the Cascades, revealing green beneath the white. I threw myself into work with renewed vigor, staying late at the office, now safe since Jason had been spotted less, whispers of tension with Sarah. I landed a major client, a sustainable fashion brand wanting viral campaigns on TikTok and Instagram. "You've got fire, Emily," my boss said during my review, promoting me to senior director with a corner office overlooking Lake Union, where I could watch sailboats bob on sunny days. Personal reinvention followed. A haircut at a trendy salon in Queen and chopping off the long locks he'd always complimented, opting for a sleek bob that framed my face and screamed confidence. New wardrobe hauls from Nordstrom Rack, empowering blazers in bold colors, jeans that hugged my curves, boots for stomping through puddles with purpose. I joined Orange Theory Fitness, sweating out the anger in HIIT classes, the burn in my muscles a welcome distraction, endorphins rushing like a natural high. Pounds shed, but more importantly, strength gained, both physical and mental. Dating apps beckoned tentatively. Bumble first, swiping through profiles on lunch breaks, coffee with Tom, an architect who shared my love for mid-century modern design, laughing over bad first date stories at a cafe in Fremont. No sparks, but it reminded me I was still desirable, still capable of connection. Then a hike with Alex, a teacher from Tacoma, trading stories on the trail to Rattlesnake Ledge, the views of the valley below mirroring the expanse of possibilities ahead. Friends were my lifeline, orchestrating comebacks like generals in a war room. Girls' trips to Leavenworth for its Bavarian charm, sipping hot cocoa by fireplaces, shopping for trinkets in quaint stores. Game nights at Lisa's place, board games like Codenames and wine flowing, screams of laughter over ridiculous guesses. "You're killing it, girl," Lisa said one night, clinking glasses. "He's probably regretting everything right now." Family check-ins kept me grounded. Daily texts from mom with recipes, "Try this casserole, it'll comfort your soul," or dad sending dad joke memes about cheaters getting their karma, like a cartoon of a guy slipping on banana peels labeled lies. I started an anonymous blog, From Betrayed to Boss, pouring my heart into posts about red flags in relationships, healing timelines, the power of solo travel. Comments flooded in from women across the country, a nurse in Florida sharing her divorce story, a teacher in California thanking me for the courage to leave. It connected me to a sisterhood, turning pain into purpose. But suspense lingered like a shadow. Rumors swirled through mutual friends. Jason and Sarah engaged? A coworker texted me a screenshot of her Instagram, a diamond ring glinting under filters, caption, "Yes to forever." My stomach knotted, a fresh wave of hurt crashing. Was he really moving on that fast, building a new life while I pieced mine together? Revenge simmered beneath the surface, not the explosive kind from movies, but calculated, like a chess move. It culminated at the company conference in Las Vegas, the neon lights of the strip flashing like warning signs, casinos buzzing with slot machine chimes and high roller laughter. I was there for panels on digital marketing, networking in ballrooms with open bars. And there they were, across the room, Jason in a suit, Sarah on his arm, her ring catching the light. Heart pounding, I approached, champagne flute in hand, my heels clicking on marble floors. "Jason. Sarah. Congrats on everything." My voice was cool, steady, belying the storm inside. He paled, stuttering, "Hey. Didn't expect to see you here." Sarah smirked, her hand possessive on his arm. "We're happy now. Sorry it didn't work out for you too." I smiled, ice in my veins. "No worries at all. You can keep him. And his lies." I turned away, but not before anonymously tipping HR via email, attaching proof of their affair, which violated company policy on fraternization. Reprimands followed swiftly. Jason was transferred to a remote satellite office in Portland. Sarah quit amid office whispers and sidelong glances. Closure didn't come in a thunderclap, but in quiet waves. A final therapy session with Dr. Reyes. "You've grown so much, Emily." From victim to victor. A solo hike in Discovery Park, wind whipping off the sound, seals barking from rocky shores below. I breathe deep, releasing the last tendrils of pain like exhaling smoke. Months later, in June 2026, the sun warmed my skin as I stood on the balcony of my new condo in Queen, and the view of the Olympics majestic in the distance. I'd sold the old apartment, purging the ghosts, and bought this place with savings from my promotion. Modern kitchen, cozy reading nook, space for me. Mark, the kind hiker I'd met on a trail to Poo Poo Point, texted, "Dinner tonight?" "That Italian spot in Belltown, I smiled, typing back yes. He was honest, steady, no games, just shared sunsets and laughter. Jason had texted apologies weeks ago, a drunken ramble about regrets. I deleted it without reply. He chose her, his coworker, his escape. But she can keep his lies, his half-truths, his wandering eyes. I chose me, my strength, my future, my unapologetic self. And in that choice, I found empowerment, a story rewritten not with bitterness, but with bold, vibrant strokes. The rain had cleared, the sky was endless blue. My heart, once shattered, beat strong and free.